Hi guys, this is a contest entry to ChrisBlu007's 1,300 subscriber contest for some of those amazing steelbooks that he's offering out. I've only just joined YouTube about a month and a half ago, but Chris was one of the first people that sort of commented on one of my videos and subscribed to me, and I subscribed back. Really appreciate it, Chris. Really love your videos. I think you've got a great sense of humour, and you're British, so that's a plus, eh? So all I'm going to do is not waffle on, and I'm going to enter and tell you what my favourite sci-fi movie is. Probably this is my favourite. You said not to deal with mainstream films. This ain't a mainstream film, but it is still my favourite as well, I think. So just to give you a summary of some of the sci-fi films that I'm normally into, I kind of like things that are a little bit off the wall. So obviously, everyone thinks things like Aliens great, The Thing's great, Blade Runner, all of that stuff. That's fantastic. No one's arguing about that. But there's also a lot of Cronenberg's films, David Cronenberg's films, which I really like, such as The Fly, such as Existence, and The Brood, and Rabid. All of those sort of films, which have got horror elements in them as well, but they deal with this very weird and bizarre futuristic world where science most of the time has changed things for the worse, and everyone's living in a very surreal way. I love those sort of films, love films like that, and I guess kind of in keeping with that is my favourite film. So my favourite sci-fi movie, and one that not everyone may have seen, although probably if you're really into film you've probably heard of it at least, is a film called Moon. Now, this film came out, I think, about 3 years ago. It stars Sam Rockwell, and it's directed by a guy called Duncan Jones. It was his directorial debut, and he's actually David Bowie's son, believe it or not. So that's probably where he got the money to make this film from. Now, the story of Moon is Sam Rockwell plays a man who has been living on the moon for quite some time now, and he lives there alone on the moon in a space station, and he is sending reports back to Earth where he's doing some mining on the moon. He's in charge of various vehicles and stuff which go out and do tests and things like that. I can't actually remember the specifics now of what he's doing on the moon, but he's doing some sort of harvesting and sending stuff back to the moon. I think it's something to do with natural resources, green resources, and he's sending it back to Earth. And he lives there on this space station all by himself. I say by himself. There is actually one other entity on board the space station with him, and it's Kevin Spacey, but not Kevin Spacey as himself. It's Kevin Spacey playing the voice of the on-board robot, very much like the old HAL of Space Odyssey 2001 that we're used to, only this robot, we don't really know, is he good, is he bad? There's a lot of the whole Severus Snape thing going on with him, where due to our conditioning of robots in sci-fi films, we're used to the fact that they're going to turn on the humans, they're going to do something terrible. And you already go in with that belief when you think, oh my god, this guy's on the moon all by himself. His only company is a robot, an onboard robot. So you're very, very suspicious of him all the way along. And there's a few suspicious things that happen. Anyway, it goes along, and what happens is Sam Rockwell's character, is in the middle of mining, and while he's on board the spaceship one night, he sees a vision of a girl sitting at a table. It just flashes, and then it disappears, and he gradually starts thinking that he's going a little bit insane, a little bit mental. I should say at this point that this is going to spoil Moon for those of you who haven't seen it, but I've got to continue anyway. Sorry, Chris, if you haven't seen it, I've got to do this, man. I've got to do this. He goes out one day to one of the vehicles that's been harvesting stuff, and he finds his body inside one of the vehicles, and the film progresses, and it transpires that he is actually a clone. There's a bunch of clones on board this spaceship underneath, sorry, not the spaceship, the space station, underneath the flooring, that are brought up to replace him, and he could be clone number, God knows what, 33, 34. His wife and his child, who he left back home on Earth, possibly living with the original Sam. So everything he thinks he knows is gone, and the rug is well and truly pulled out from under his feet. So what it really brings into question is this issue of identity and meaning, and who are we? Do we have any meaning? This guy has been bred, if you want to use that word, to work on the moon, to do all this stuff for this shady agency. He's not had any choice in the matter. That's what he's there for, and he will be deactivated. He will degrade, and he will eventually die. It's quite a sad, quite a beautiful story, but the real magic in it is when it comes down to Sam Rockwell dealing with his clone. So Sam Rockwell acting basically with himself. He's bouncing off himself the whole time. He's talking to himself, and then he's acting the responses at the same time. It's incredible. Some of the scenes in it are amazing. I don't know how they did it. There's a scene, for example, which is shot from the side where you've got Sam Rockwell playing with one of his clones, playing table tennis. And the ball is bouncing, and they're catching the ball, and then the clone comes over and takes the hat off of his head, all in one take, but you're seeing both of their faces. It's not like one of those things that they typically do in movies where you've got an over-the-shoulder shot or something like that. And it's mind-blowing. You're like, how have they done that? So Duncan Jones, an incredible director off the bat, straight away with that coming out of the canon. It's a great film. It's a really interesting film. It really brings up issues of who you can trust, how to believe in yourself when all hope's gone. And it's got a really quite uplifting and positive message. So if you don't want me to spoil it, I won't anyway, but I've probably spoiled the main thing for you. Sorry about that. There's a couple of cool things in it as well that I like the fact that Sam Rockwell's alarm clock plays I Am the One and Only by Chesney Hawkes to wake him up, which was great. I thought that was cool. And then Duncan Jones went on to direct another film called The Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal, and also in that someone's ringtone is I'm the One and Only. So I don't really get what Duncan Jones' connection is with that song. I would have thought maybe one of David Bowie's songs might have sufficed, all things considered. Anyway, fantastic film, super cool. Go and check it out. It's totally out there, very different to anything else you've seen. It's one of those ones that will split people between people going fucking fantastic and people going that was really pretty boring. There wasn't much to it. Chris, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. If you have seen it, go and check it out again. Go and get the steelbook of that if you can find one. So anyway, Chris, that was my entry. I hope you liked the film as well, and I look forward to finding out how I did. Keep doing what you're doing, Chris. It's great stuff. Thank you very much, mate. Take care.